So Bernie Sanders came out and he was asked about, helping out with worldwide abortions and birth control, which he's because of overpopulation and climate change, which he's in favor of, which a lot of people are interpreting as eugenics, which I think that's a fair assessment. On the other hand, if you're one of the hardcore pro-life people that thinks aborting babies up until birth is just fine, I think it's consistent with that.
Well, it goes down to the democratic ideology of they really, really, really hate black people, and they really, really hate brown people. So they come up with these ways to maybe abort their kids. I don't know. Maybe is that
Well, they want white kids aborted too, but yeah, people were pointing out that basically the global eugenics idea would target people of color primarily.
Well, I guess I don't know what the term is, but the thinking was sort of the conceit. That's the word. The conceit. The conceit is that the white, like Northern European and upper middle class white people, they're smart enough to plan their families, so they're aborting for they're doing the correct kind of aborting where they're just aborting if your kid's born with some sort of deficiency or something. They'll abort it that way. Yeah, eugenics, But they want to abort whole populations out of Africa and Asia. They don't want to do selective aborting there. They want to abort across the board. And this.
Well, it's like China's one-child policy.
Yeah, and China did that though.
And they mostly more girls end up getting killed too because of the culture values males more.
Well, China did that because they were fucking starving because they can't feed themselves under communism. So when they passed this policy, it wasn't because that they wanted to control, eugenics. They literally had no food. So the idea is we'll produce less, people in a communist country. This way we'll have more food. It didn't occur to them at the time that you can produce more food in a capitalist society. Capitalism will find a way to produce more food, like the United States did. The United States is like a small portion of the world and it's feeding pretty much the whole world.
Yeah, and so I don't know about in different countries. In the United States, though, people have issues. There's a lot of poor people and the cost of living is always going up. But in general, food is not that expensive. I mean, some food is. But in general, just buying some inexpensive food at the grocery store or wherever, it's not really all that expensive. And we have weirdos from Sweden pushing cannibalism now, which there have been other people talking about cannibalism.
Oh my God! Have you seen the homeless
or eating
people?
Bugs?
Have you seen the homeless people in New York? They're fat as fuck. We have the fattest homeless people on the planet.
No, I haven't seen them.
If you go to India, the street beggars. They're starving. They look like it. They're skinny. If you go to in the United States, our street beggars are fat and obese. How is that possible? Because they have plenty of food. There's plenty of food to go around. I was poor. I mean, I was on free lunch in school. There was never a time where I was ever hungry. There was never a time where my mother, on the limited budget that she had, was not able to make us a full family healthy meal. And there was always school meals and whatever too. So you're totally correct.
You can buy 5 or 10 pounds of potatoes for $1 or $2.
Yeah, that could feed you for a week plus. If you know how to cook it and prepare it and whatever. But I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is some sort of ideology that's trying to spook people to eating bugs. The other thing that pisses me off.
I think that they just want to normalize a bunch of weird shit and get people used to the idea and move the Overton window.
Yes. And the other thing that bugs me.
I just don't see anything. Maybe in China, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chinese government did some Soylent Green shit because they don't appear to have much of a moral compass.
No.
But like I said, in the United States, food's relatively cheap, and the idea of eating people, it doesn't even make any sense.
Well, again, I think you're totally correct. They're trying to move the Overton window. The other thing that pisses me off that I think is part of this Overton window experiment is the small house fucking movement. Whenever I see a TV show about people living in fucking shacks, like this tiny fucking house shit. All these shows where they're going around the country, like they're building these people pretty much a shack, and you live in this fucking shack. They're not telling rich people to live in shacks. They're telling poor people to live in shacks. You know, sort of what lower expectations. You know, your generation is going to live like shit. So here, eat mealworms, eat humans, and live in a fucking one-room box.
Yeah, well,
you know?
all the rich, famous assholes and VIPs that are lecturing about climate change are hopping on their private jets everywhere. It's ridiculous.
It's okay. They paid the indulgence to the climate change god.
Elton John
So it's
paid
fine for that. Yeah, it's fine if you do it that way. But, you know, if you fly to Florida for, like, spring break, you're the fucking Antichrist, you know? I think there was on Twitter where this woman, she's like, I'm just going to take a vacation to Florida. And then she was attacked by people saying you're destroying the climate and whatever. And she's like, shit like that. You know, you're like browbeaten for just doing normal shit. But I don't see anyone browbeating the fucking prince for doing
the
like
Earth has gone through ages of like all kinds of volcanic activity, everything full of smoke and all kinds of shit. Like the stuff that's happened naturally is on a whole different level than anything man-made. And also another point is, if Democrats are environmentalists, how come they can't clean up their shithole cities?
Man, exactly. I have to step over feces every morning in the subway to go to work. To a rich part of, like, you know, I think the other day I had to take a bus because my doctor.
Don't clean it up. It's endangered feces.